Her room in the nursing home seemed to be squeezed into a dark corner. The elderly woman, Margaret, gazed out the window, and deep within her eyes lay a hidden story. She slowly parted the curtains and looked towards the horizon of the town. The sound of the wind brought with it whispers from the past. At that moment, something flickered in Margaret's eyes. Years ago, the memory of a missing little girl had impacted her soul forever. That night, the dimly lit corridors of the nursing home were eerily silent. The old wound within her had, for the first time in years, reopened. Slowly, she stood up, her legs trembling beneath her. With slow steps, she moved towards the chair in the corner of the room and sat down. Memories of the world she had once been part of rushed through her mind. That night, the silent pains of the past would corner her once again. Margaret had once been one of the most respected teachers in the town. In her youth, she had taught at the local school, becoming a beloved and well-respected figure. For many years, she had been considered the most trustworthy person in town. She was a kind, intelligent woman with a warm smile, and everyone, her students, friends, and neighbors, always spoke highly of her. But Margaret's greatest joy was seeing the happiness in her students' eyes when she read books to them. She always tried to understand them and explain the hardships of life. Her life was peaceful and happy. One day, a new family moved to the town. Their little daughter, Emily, became Margaret's student. Emily was different from the other children. There was a certain sadness in her eyes, as if she saw the world from a different perspective. Margaret noticed this mystery in Emily and became closer to her. Emily's intelligence and emotional depth intrigued Margaret. When Emily went missing, Margaret could never have imagined how her life would change forever. One morning, shocking news spread throughout the town. Emily was missing. Her parents raised an alarm, but no trace of her could be found. That day, the townspeople desperately searched the streets for Emily, but by evening they had found no clues. Margaret tried to gather as much information as she could about the missing child, but something felt off inside her. Ever since she had last seen Emily that morning, something about it didn't feel right. After Emily's disappearance, rumors spread throughout the town. Many people thought Emily had run away on her own. But Margaret had a strange feeling that something was wrong. Everything in the town seemed in order, and yet a child could go missing so suddenly. Could this be the result of some great negligence? As Margaret began her investigation into Emily's disappearance, she discovered a secret that the townspeople had long known but never spoken of. The richest and most powerful family in town, the Davis family, was hiding something about Emily's disappearance. But Margaret was determined to uncover the truth. As days passed, Margaret's investigation drew her deeper into the town's darkest secrets. She was about to expose what the town had long concealed. But the town had become a place where trust was lost, betrayal ruled, and dark secrets hid behind the disappearance of children. Behind Emily's disappearance was an event that Margaret had personally witnessed. Before that day, she had been very close to Emily's family. The Davis family was hiding something, but what was it? Everyone who knew Emily believed her disappearance was no accident. Something had happened, but no one knew what. Years later, everything began to fall into place in Margaret's mind. When she moved into the nursing home, she was once again forced to confront the big secret she had kept for so long. Margaret herself was partly guilty for Emily's disappearance. That day, she had noticed an important secret about Emily's family, but had chosen not to tell the town. At that moment, everything continued as normal for the townspeople, but inside Margaret, the weight of guilt grew. On the day Emily disappeared, Margaret had seen Evelyn, Emily's mother, waiting in the park while her children played, but leaving her daughter alone at home for a short while. However, when Evelyn noticed Margaret, there was fear in her eyes. When Margaret remembered the moment of Emily's disappearance, she recalled that Evelyn had shown a distinct sense of guilt and panic. Margaret had understood the circumstances behind Emily's disappearance, but Evelyn never admitted it to her. When Evelyn noticed Margaret, she seemed to want to say something, but there was such deep silence that Margaret couldn't hear a word. Filled with guilt, Margaret had decided to keep the truth hidden, fearing that revealing it would cause her to lose the trust of the town. That night, as she walked alone down the quiet corridors of the nursing home, the old woman's eyes once again filled with tears. The guilt from the past had resurfaced. Margaret accepted her role in Emily's disappearance. That day, she realized that in life, every mystery and every secret comes with a price. One morning, a familiar face from the town appeared before the elderly woman in the nursing home. It was Evelyn, Emily's mother, who had come to see Margaret after all these years. Her eyes were filled with old anger and pain. After years of struggling with her conscience, Margaret finally felt ready to carry the weight of the past. At that moment, Evelyn said, "I've come to tell you this." What happened, Margaret? What happened that day? Margaret decided it was time to tell everything. The time had come to share the truth. Though she had remained silent for years, in that moment, her sense of justice gave her the courage to speak. The truth she had once tried to forget, the truth she had kept silent about, was finally revealed. The townspeople, who had been hiding the truth, would now have to face the reality of Margaret's conscience. When Margaret finally freed herself from the burden of guilt and conscience, she could finally fall into a peaceful sleep. The revelation of everything marked a turning point for the town as well. The truth about Emily's disappearance finally came to light, and justice had been served. And Margaret, after all the years of silent waiting, found the peace she had longed for. Margaret's conscience had haunted her for years. Every secret is destined to come out eventually, and no matter how much time passes, living without confronting the truth is impossible. Her regret was not just a reflection of the past, but also a reminder of the heavy toll that hiding the truth can take. Her story reminds us all of the power of conscience and the importance of speaking the truth. To learn from past mistakes, to find peace, and to live in harmony, we must accept the truth. Margaret's long wait was meaningful for both herself and the town. No secret can remain hidden forever, and even the darkest moments will eventually come to light. If this story taught you a lesson, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for more deep stories and unforgettable moments in our future videos.